Hello. So this week we were given the opportunity to share some ways in which we use technology in the classroom, or we've seen technology being used in classroom, um, or how we've integrated technology with our students into the classroom as well. And so what I thought I would do is, there's so many. I thought I would use just a few that are helpful to me personally, and hopefully you'll find some type of relevance in using them. I believe that technology, regardless of whether it's meant for me as a social science professor or an education professor, um, facilitates knowledge. It facilitates that learner-teacher dynamic that we really need to kind of harness, and it's for 21st century learners. And so, one of the very first ones I'm going to show you is one that I use a lot, and I'm a big proponent of, and that's VoiceThread. Um, and VoiceThread is a huge medium. It's so simple to use, and it gives you the opportunity to be interactive as well. It's not just about making the thread. It's about receiving interactive comments. It's about learning from your own thread and expanding on that thread, and kind of branching out as well. The first one I'll just touch on: ethics technology. I did this with a fellow student of mine. Her name is Jennifer Ferrer, and we were just really interested about ethics. We didn't know that there was this thing that it's called ethics and technology, and that there was an ethical behavior on the web. It was just fascinating to us. And so we wanted to know this because why? Because we are in the realm of students, and we want to know what students are navigating, and if they're doing it properly. Cyberbullying is part of ethical technology. And so we wanted to really delve into that subject. And so we put together this VoiceThread to not only educate ourselves, but hopefully to garner responses from other educators, other people, even students, what they thought about ethics and technology, parents even as well. So, it's just a way, VoiceThread is just a medium to integrate. And you can also integrate into Canvas if you want to. Here's an instruction of how you would do that. And it's basically very simple, and it kind of is much easier than you would think. And it's more interactive than just putting a YouTube video on there and saying, let's watch the video, kids, and then we'll talk about it later. Let's talk about it now. Let's talk about it while you're watching it. And so VoiceThread kind of gives us that medium to do that, to be interactive, to be present at the moment. We want to capture those thoughts right away. Another video thread I put together was instructional strategies for teaching and learning with technology. And this is a useful one to me because I still go back to this every once in a while. It gives me ideas of the different mediums of things that we could use in the classroom. It's not all up here all the time. Sometimes I have to kind of go back to my bookmarks or to the well, and just to show you a page from that thread. TeacherTube, Wikibooks, Curriki, if you're looking for PLN, just different mediums and different places where you can integrate into technology. WebQuest are amazing. And one of my favorites, and I'm going to get to that in a second, we're going to transition to that, is Merlot. And Merlot's just a great site to use. As you navigate through Merlot, I'll go here for you, and I've already kind of clicked onto my page. And you can see the different communities here, and if we kind of scroll down, we can see these are just a wealth of resources. And of course, I'm going to click on history because that's what I teach. And so as you kind of go through the history, you can pull up a wealth of resources. Now, for me, it's not just about teaching about history. It's also about giving students visuals, giving them an opportunity to see what history is. It's, we talk about history, and that can become boring every once in a while. But if you can actually, get kids to see history as it's being, as it folds out, then it makes it real for them. So we were talking earlier this quarter about religious tolerance, and basically it was our interactions with the natives, right? The English's interactions, the Portuguese interactions, the Spanish interactions with the natives, and religion, and how that came to be, and so when we got to the lesson on the Puritans and religious tolerance or intolerance, as you may think, for the Puritans. Students had a lot of questions, and they wanted to know, well, why didn't they just go somewhere else? Well, they did. And I said, yeah, they went somewhat to Maryland, and Maryland became a refuge for some people. And so we read a little bit about the Maryland Act concerning religion, and the students were kind of fascinated about that. And I said, someone said, well, that kind of sounds like one of maybe our first civil rights laws. And I said, absolutely. It could be our first civil rights, our first anti-discriminatory law, maybe in the Americas. And, so in doing so, I wanted them to be able to visualize that, not just talk about it, but also see it. And so this was helpful in helping me find a resource that I could do that with. And so as you see, as we scroll down, you can see the different things about religion, in the Americas, in the early Americas, and here's the Maryland Act concerning religion, right? If we click on that, you can see now it comes to life. It's not just about talking about something that students will never see or never have any visual on. It's actually pulling up these resources and being able to let them live it. And it's, of course, I could pull it in a PowerPoint and let them see it and let them be able to experience it. And I think that's what teaching is about. It's not just about the opportunity to talk about these things. It's opportunity to show them these things. If we could, we'd have them maybe touch these things. We'll handle them with gloves. But you know what I mean. The idea of seeing something makes it real for students. It makes it not just something we're making up. It's something that happened. And so going on with history, one thing that I love to do, and one site that I like to use also is ushistorysite.com. And as I said, these are just sites that you can use. And Merlot links to this site. It gives you this opportunity to kind of transition to this site. As you can see, there's different types of topics: Revolution, Civil War. And so since I'm teaching early American history, I thought it would be fun, especially for international students. My international students, they have a bit of a language barrier in that. And they're not born in America, so they don't know the history of America like some of us that were born here know it. So what I like to do is I like to send them on a Jamestown online adventure. And it's an interactive adventure, and it gives them a chance to really kind of delve into the project. So we're going to start our Jamestown adventure, and I'm just going to kind of go through a little bit of it with you now. The ship is sailing away, of course. So we start the adventure, right? Now, it tells them where they want to land, right? And so they know that, well, you may not want to land here because, we know some of the Spanish claim most of the islands on the coast. So let's look inland a little bit. Let's go to Bay Marsh, and let's see what's going on here. All right, let's just kind of move a little closer in. And so it gives them a chance to land and find out some information about the area. All right, there we go. What should they do next? Well, let's ask a colonist. Spain claims these lands. Of course they do. Absolutely. But we're going to move on anyway. We're going to take that risk. The Spanish aren't here. So then we talk about Powhatan in class. It gives them some perspective. Now they can understand, okay, well, what do we want to do? Let's ask a native. If you insist on staying here, you must be a good neighbor. What does that mean? Well, let's offer a trade, right? And so we offer a trade, and then it says, what kind of structure do you want to build? And of course we know this looks impending. This looks even more impending. Let's build a town. Why don't we? Let's move our town right here, close to the water. There we go. And so it's an interactive thing. It gives them a chance to really kind of get involved in the process of history and understanding history, right? Which colonists will work. And we do talk about indentured servitude, and especially in Virginia, and tobacco brides and things of this nature. And so, but we want to give them a sense that everyone is willing to work, even though we know that they're not. So we kind of move into these categories, and it's a really interactive thing for them to do. So, this just shows you what a great tool Merlot can be, what a great tool, ushistorysite.com can be. Just different technologies helping you in the classroom just to facilitate learning, but also learning that's fun, learning that's interactive. And I think that's the most important thing. And that's the thing that I'm starting to learn more and more as I kind of delve into this, that, it has to be interactive. It has to be fun. It has to be engaging. It has to kind of visually stimulate. But also they have to be in control of it. And it's something they can do on their own as well. So hopefully some of these technologies were useful to you. some of these interactive technologies hopefully you can use again in the future. And thank you for letting me share them with you. And hopefully you can share some with me, and we can kind of grow this entire repertoire of technology and integrating into the classrooms. Thank you. Mahalo.